Hello, my friends. Thank you for coming back. Nice to see you. Let's spend some time doing some basic standing posture, Wuji posture. Remember that if this is your first time here and you're stumbling across this series, welcome. Nice to have you here. Please check down below for the links that will lead you to the introduction for this set, or at least day one of this 100-day series, rather than jumping into the middle. And for the rest of us, again, remembering to soften your hips and your knees, soften your lower back, your upper back, your chest and shoulders, so your arms fall on your sides, your head floats up. Make certain that you're not leaning back. If you're not certain if you are doing the posture correctly, please do send me a video or some photos, and I'm happy to let you know how you're doing. Of course, there's no substitute for having your hands on somebody and helping them align. So, of course, you're always welcome to come out here to the monastery to get some corrections. Or perhaps just find a local expert and ask them to work on your posture. It is wonderfully helpful. But in the meantime, just the practice itself will also help. Sometimes you can't replace technique with the simple help of someone telling you what to do. You have to find your way through with practice. You have to take the time to soften your shoulders and your neck, allowing your arms to sink, crown of the head to float up, softening your upper back and your lower back. As your lower back releases and your hips soften, your tailbone sinks slightly, softening your belly, letting go of any tension around the thighs, the knees, the lower legs, or at least doing your best. Softening your feet, allowing your toes to hang. Feeling your body open. We've been at this for about a month now, and so you have been making some good progress. We want to start paying attention to the positive shifts that have been happening in your mind, in your body, your breath, your emotional structure, how you are in your daily life. One reason to go and meet with an expert isn't just to correct your posture and alignment, but also to meet with someone who's a little bit further down this particular path than you are. And you can see how they are, how they move, the fruits of their practice. Are they calm? Are they clear-headed? These kinds of things. That can be very encouraging for our practice. Continuing to let go. One of the stages that often happens as we begin to practice is that we are much more aware of our blockages, our misalignments, the areas of tension, and those places that used to be numb and ignored are now awake and calling out for attention. And so in a way, sorry to say this, we begin to feel a little bit worse overall, because now we're suddenly aware of all of the things that we were ignoring before, which of course is a good sign, but not always comfortable. And so people can begin to doubt their experience, doubt their progress, maybe want to stop because they haven't done it long enough to make a big change and see the changes they're hoping to find, but they've done it long enough to notice how uncomfortable they are. And they prefer the state of ignorance as bliss. So we begin to pay attention to the positive changes because it's always easier to notice the painful spots or the things we're doing wrong. Taking your time, letting go of your breath and your body, not trying to do anything in particular. We are simply being present here, letting go, and paying attention to the changes that are happening. just another 10 minutes or so of standing. Of course, always sit down when it stops being comfortable and easy. You don't want to begin practicing great tension. Stay in the realm of softness. Don't fight your own posture. It's always okay to sit down early. Closing when you're finished. Go ahead and make yourself comfortable sitting down. Notice if you've gotten better, for instance, at proper seated position, so that your shoulders are over your hips, your head is over your shoulder. Maybe you've gotten better at learning to let go upward, like I talk about. This process of being held in proper posture, not through holding on, but through letting go. And that by itself is enough to create a kind of open structure that supports you. It's wonderfully nourishing and relaxing. And I know that that is a bit of a higher bar. Some of you probably get there very quickly. For others, especially if, like me, you were born a bit crooked, it takes more time to find your way through to let go. So we're just patient. We put the time in. But part of what I'd like to talk about today, one of the big hindrances, one of the big blockages and obstructions along our road toward healing, is doubt. Doubt in the practice, for instance. And so, of course, for people who are trying something new, they give it a shot, and all they notice is maybe they're a bit more sore, and make sure maybe they're a little bit relaxed, but this is taking a long time. Maybe I should try jazzercise or something else. One of my friends really likes this other thing, and certainly understandable. I'd like to encourage you to stick with the practice, letting go, being soft, simply being here, and doing this very traditional Qigong method, Qigong and meditation method. It's worked for a very long time. It will help. We need to help you get through this time of difficulty, this time of doubt, of wondering whether or not it's worthwhile, whether or not it's working. And of course, for some people, it will work very quickly, and for others, it takes more time. I'm one of the people that it took a lot more effort to make it help me. And if you, like me, find yourself in that place where you go, is this really worth it? Then what I'd like to do is encourage you through noticing the changes that are happening for you, because it's so much easier to always notice what's going wrong. So you can go visit an expert or a master and see, wow, this system really does work. This method really does help. Look what it did for them. Or you can look within yourself and begin to see how those changes are impacting you. And that can be very encouraging for your practice. Again, the doubt in the practice is one of the great famous obstructions for people, why people quit along the path, because they go, is it really working? And they didn't really do it long enough to make a difference, just long enough to kind of become uncomfortable as their body and their mind began to change. And change, of course, is always a little bit uncomfortable. So, settling into your posture, begin with this song jing breath that we enjoy so much. Exhaling through your mouth, letting everything let go, softening through. And then inhaling naturally through the nose, if that's comfortable. Allowing that sense of stillness and peace to deepen. And notice right away, if you've been doing this practice for this last month, you probably notice a big difference in how able you are to let go of your tension just by deciding, okay, I'm now exhaling. You might notice that before you kind of stayed tight and you were exhaling, but nothing happened. Maybe it even made you a little bit more tense because you were trying too hard. But then as you exhale and let go now, maybe you notice this wave of softness through your body. Maybe before, when I talked about inhaling this stillness, you kind of were looking around unsure what you were supposed to be experiencing. But maybe now you have a sense of what I'm talking about, this peace that's beneath everything. All we're doing is uncovering it. Take note of this change in your practice and your own capacity to let go, because this is no small shift. This is a big deal. If you can start to let go and find peace, you now know your way through. You now have a path toward healing. Take the path. Stay on the path. You can do this. And then at some point, as usual, when you feel like you've softened as much as you were going to, settle yourself into a comfortable, quiet, seated practice. Only being present. Don't try to create anything or force your mind to do anything. Simply paying attention. When your mind wanders away, soften around the distraction, return. Return with the sense of friendliness and open heartedness. Be kind and gentle. That's part of the practice too. Just another 10 minutes or so of practice. slowly drawing your energy down, softening your body. So recognize that we need to prepare for possible obstacles and blockages to our practice in the same way that maybe I'll say, oh, we're going to be doing lots of standing posture in the future. We should probably spend extra time softening up our feet first. So for the next year or several months, make sure you massage your feet, keep them warm, make them pliable so that when we do lots of standing, then our feet are more likely to soften and open in the proper way. So we prepare for that blockage ahead of time. Otherwise, it can be really painful on our feet if we don't do that preparation work. And likewise, recognizing that this transition time during our practice where we have just started, we're starting to see changes, but often those changes feel uncomfortable. They trigger concerns in the mind. The mind begins to protect itself. We start to feel really bored or irritated or anxious, or our joints hurt. Something like that's happening. So we've gotten changes, but only enough so that things start to feel strange and not like we're used to, but not quite enough changes so that we begin to transform and our body opens in this new way. And so this is a common space for people to give up because we go, wow, why am I doing this? And so we need to inoculate ourselves against those doubts by paying attention, not only to our own experience and the actual positive changes that are happening, but also to the positive changes that have happened to people that we know and trust. And since most of you don't have the chance to come over here and meet me, you might not know how much it's transformed my health and my personality and how I see the world and live every day of my life. And these are important things to see and recognize in other people. And so if you do know practitioners who are more advanced than you, they've done the practice well, go and talk to them and see how it's helped them. See maybe what pitfalls you can avoid. They'll probably say, oh yeah, I should have not done this practice, or I did way too much of this, or not enough of this. And you'll start to learn from their experience. And that will help you gain confidence in the practice itself. These practices that we're doing right now are so simple that oftentimes it can feel like, why am I doing this? This is a waste of time. But it's not. These are the foundations. Foundations are always the most valuable, most productive. They change and transform every part of our nature. And sometimes that happens slowly. It should happen slowly. If it happens too fast, something's wrong. But because we're used to instant gratification in this world that we live in now, it's hard for us just to sit here and wait for change to happen to us instead of us trying to do something. That's part of what we're healing. But of course, our nature vies with that and fights against it, and that can feel uncomfortable. So recognizing that that will be a stage that you go through, you can begin to prepare yourself a little bit for that and just be okay with boredom. Maybe one of the things a teacher told me that might be helpful for you to hear is that boredom is something that children get irritated by. At some point we grow up and we stop being bothered by boredom. And that's an important kind of message to hear because we go, it is a bit childish to go, well, I want to be entertained. And that childish part of us sometimes gets to take the lead. But if we know that it's going to be coming up, we can go, okay, I'm not listening to you. I will survive sitting here for a few more minutes. And by recognizing that part of our nature, that also, that aspect of wisdom, also becomes nourished and becomes part of our practice. And then worries about boredom and entertainment can fall by the wayside. And after just a little bit longer in practice, you'll start to notice larger and larger changes, if you haven't already, that will encourage us to keep going. And that's the part that I'm hoping people find their way through. Just keep going. A little bit every day. I'll be here with you. You got this. I will see you tomorrow.